Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another edition of Bad Deck Monday, where we take some silly ideas, throw them together, and see if we can get them to work. Today's concept is going to revolve around two cards from the new set XY Phantom Forces, and we'll take a look at both those right now. The first one's actually going to be Wobbuffet. So we've seen Wobbuffet featured in Donphan decks or Gengar decks as a nice Pokemon to switch into after those kind of attacks that are hit and run because of the ability Bide Barricade. As long as Wobbuffet is your active Pokemon, each Pokemon in play, in each player's hand, and in each player's discard pile has no abilities except for Psychic Pokemon. So this is basically like Garbodor's Garbotoxin, but it only works when it's active, and it doesn't work on Psychic Pokemon. But that's still pretty good, right? Shutting off abilities is pretty solid, but the reason we are going to use it is for its attack. What? It has an attack? Yes, it does. Psychic Assault for one Psychic and one Colorless does 10 plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So initially, this is not going to do much of anything until you actually get damage on your opponent, and then it'll start doing big damage. So, how do we get damage on our opponent's Pokemon? Well, we're going to be using the Crobat and Golbat line. So, Golbat and Crobat have very similar abilities. Golbat's is Sneaky Bite. When you evolve into Golbat, playing it from your hand, you get to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then Crobat has Surprise Bite. When you put down Crobat from your hand, you get to put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Okay, so now we can use Sneaky Bite, Surprise Bite, put damage on our opponent's Pokemon, and then Psychic Assault will do additional damage. And that's pretty much it. We're going to be trying to get as many Golbat and Crobat in play as possible, and just try to beat down our opponent with Psychic Assault. Kind of a fun little concept, pretty difficult to pull off sometimes, to do enough actual damage to get knockouts, since 2 damage counters and 3 damage counters don't really add up to knocking out 180 HP Pokemon EX, but hey, you'd be surprised. You never know if you get a bunch of these sneaky and surprise bites off. Now, in addition to Wobbuffet, we're going to be running 2 Miltank, since we are running Stage 2 Pokemon. Miltank is just another nice 1 energy attacker, so why not? Powerful friends can do 80 damage when you have a Stage 2 on your bench. Pretty simple. Gives us another type of attacker, a different weakness to work with, and 80 for 1, can't really go wrong there. Now, the reason we can attack with Wobbuffet is because of Dimension Valley. Each Psychic Pokemon's attacks cost 1 colorless less, and if you take a look, Psychic Assault costs 1 Psychic and 1 colorless, so when we have Dimension Valley in play, we just need a Psychic Energy to use the attack, and that's pretty cool. We have a 4/4/4 Crobat line. We're actually going to be using this Zubat. I forgot this Zubat existed. It has the ability Free Flight. If it has no energy attached, it has a free retreat cost. Pretty sweet. That way, we don't really have any bad starting Pokemon in this deck. Well, you can start with Wobbuffet, which is great. That's what you want to start with. You can start with Miltank. That's fine. You can attack with him or her, I guess. Whatever. I can't remember if Miltank is a female-only Pokemon. I think it might be. Anyway, but even if you start with Zubat, you can retreat immediately to one of these Pokemon. So it is brilliant, I say. Okay, so one of the things we're trying to do with Golbat and Crobat is reuse them constantly. So that means after we evolved a Crobat, well, Crobat's not very useful anymore. We can only use his ability when he comes into play. So to put them back in our hands, we can redo the whole process. We're going to go with 4 Super Scoop Up. So you flip a coin if heads, take a Pokemon, put it back in your hand. That way we can relay down to Zubat and get more Golbat and Crobat and keep biting away. We're also going to run 1 Az for the same purpose. Pick up one of your Crobat, put everything back down, start biting some more. And then a couple of VS Secret can help us do that as well. Dowsing Machine can help us get back another Super Scoop Up or another Az or anything else. Dimension Valley if you need it. You can also do Scoop Up Cyclone, but I'm going to go with the Dowsing Machine this time. 3 Muscle Band just to make sure we can do some additional damage. With the Psychic Assault, could consider Silver Bangle as well, but we're just going to go with that. Got 4 Ultra Ball to search out our Pokemon, 2 Startling Megaphone to deal with Garbodor, shutting down our abilities since they are so very important to our strategy. And then supporters, we have 4 Skyla, 4 N, 4 Professor Juniper, 4 N, 2 Skyla, and 2 Colress, and then 1 Lysander, and 8 Psychic Energy, and that's it. That's our Wobbuffet Crobat deck, or as I shortened it in my deck title on Pokemon TCG Online, Wobbat. Not a very creative name, but that is what it is. Alright, let's take a look at Wobbat in action on Pokemon TCG Online. See if we can pull off enough sneaky and surprise bites to Psychic Assault our opponent. We see a bunch of strong energy and all sorts of other stuff from my opponent's opening hand. So we can assume some kind of fighting deck. Also saw rare candy though, so I'm not really sure what that's going to mean. I guess we'll find out. Gonna go ahead and draw an extra card from the mulligan. I'm gonna bench another Wobbuffet. So we got the double Wob and a Zubat to begin here. See, the Howlucha has a free retreat cost, and the Landorus EX has the strong energy. So, yeah, it seems pretty good. That's going to be a pretty beefy Pokemon to deal with right off the bat. I was fortunate to draw a Professor Juniper off of my top deck there, so that's a very, very big moment there. I'll have to discard a Crobat, but that's fine. You know, with Super Scoop Up and the As and stuff, we should be able to reuse a lot of Crobat. I will bench a second Zubat, and definitely going to put down the Muscle Band. I don't know if I should put it on the active Wobbuffet or the benched one. I guess we'll do it to the active, and I don't know if I want to put down Miltank against a Landorus EX, but hey, I suppose it's an extra attacker, so why not? Okay, so let's go ahead and attach the Psychic to the active Wobbuffet, and I don't have a Dimension Valley, so I will have to pass this turn. And here's a Crushing Hammer. Ooh, that could be a little tough to deal with. And oh, it looks like my opponent has gotten an N. So now we will both get 6 fresh cards, and oh boy, Landorus is getting really scary. Double strong energy, Muscle Band. Thankfully, Wobbuffet has 110 HP, so it can survive the 90 damage Hammerhead, the Night Spear, and 30 to a bench Zubat. That's pretty brutal when you think about it. Alright, so I can probably just drop down that Startling Megaphone. Certainly going to go with the Sneaky Bite with Golbat. May as well do that. And we can drop down the Dimension Valley. I can go for Super Scoop Up. Going to get the heads. And I have 2 options here. I could pick up Wobbuffet, get a fresh Wobbuffet down, and do that. Or I can pick up Golbat and do some sneaky biting. I'm actually going to pick up the Wobbuffet, force my opponent to use Land's Judgment to knock me out instead of just a Hammerhead. And let's go with an N. Did not get a second Golbat, unfortunately. Would have loved that, but this is fine too. Let's go with a Psychic Assault. Only 50 damage. That's kind of weak, but think about next turn. If we get another Golbat or a Crobat, we can do a Sneaky Bite and then a Psychic Assault and take down a Landorus EX. So that's not entirely bad. Here comes a Karina for a Landorus EX. And we'll see what else comes out here. A rare candy. So we see Machop on the bench. Could see Machamp coming out here. And normally Machamp would add 20 damage to the fighting Pokemon's attacks, but we got Bide Barricade. So Machamp, not going to do very much. It's pretty sad. You know, you get a whole stage 2 out, support your Pokemon, and Wobbuffet just says Wobbuffet, and that means no, you can't use your abilities. I'm pretty sure that's what he means when he says Wobbuffet. Alright. So, gonna play the N here and get 6 fresh cards. Got the Golbat, and let's see, if I put 2 more damage counters on the active, that will leave it with 90 HP. And 10 plus 90 is 100. So, through the power of mathematics, we will now be knocking out this Landorus EX with a single Psychic Energy, 100 damage. Psychic Assault. Take that, Landorus. Oh, yeah. And, oh, here comes another one. Spoke too soon. Another big dude coming my way. Here's the Fighting Stadium. Probably not going to do very much, but it gets rid of my Dimension Valley. So it's fairly annoying. Alright, so Hypnotoxic Laser. Gonna go ahead and poison the Wobbuffet. And we're gonna see the Hammer of the Head and 30 to the Golbat. So I'll probably need to evolve him pretty soon. And here I have some decisions to start to making. So here I'm definitely gonna Ultra Ball, and we're gonna discard a Psychic. And we can get rid of Lysander maybe, and I'm going to discard the Colress, I suppose. I think I might actually be able to get a knockout here. Let's see this. We're going to go with the Surprise Bite. That'll put 3 damage counters. On the active Landorus EX, it's pretty cool. And then, you know, we have Super Scoop Up, we have the Az, we have all sorts of things to work with. I'm going to go for the Super Scoop, which is going to be a Tails, unfortunately. Well, let's go with the Az. Going to go ahead and pick up the Crobat, which means we can play down absolutely everything we just picked up. So let's bench the Zubat. We can Surprise Bite the active. We can drop down a Golbat. And, you know, if I had a Muscle Band, I think I would have actually gotten a knockout here. Unfortunately, I'm actually going to be 10 damage short. Oh, that's infuriating. Oh, man, we needed a Muscle Band there, but that's pretty cool. You know, he went from 0 to 170 just like that with a couple Crobat, Golbat, some sneaky biting going on there. That's pretty cool, honestly. And if you take a look, my opponent's really only taken 1 prize. That's kind of strange. And we do see a Hammerhead for the knockout after the poison damage, and Zubat will be taking the 30 damage. At this point, I will promote my Crobat, and now draw a Super Scoop Up. If I get heads here, that could be really big. You know, we can actually just get a sneaky bite, knockout, and oh yeah, Crobat, picking him up. And we're going to drop the Golbat down on the Landorus EX, and actually, it will get knocked out. Just from the ability, getting the knockout, that's pretty cool. And my opponent actually promotes Lucario EX. Wow. I really thought Hawlucha would have come out. That would have been my guess. We'll go ahead with the Surprise Bite at this point. Juniper for a fresh hand of 7. And, oh yeah, got a Wobbuffet, a Psychic Energy, a Dimension Valley, a Muscle Band. We got all the goods, folks, and we're actually a little short of getting a knockout. If that had been a Silver Bangle, that would have been game over, I think. And, oh, it's game over anyway. Oh, man, Wobbuffet takes down the big bad fighting deck. Unbelievable. My opponent only managed to get 2 prizes before tapping out to the Psychic Assault. I think my opponent knew that eventually Crobat would finish off Lucario EX, and that would have been that. So, I don't know. Maybe I didn't give this deck enough credit. Maybe it is a little powerful sometimes if you can pull off enough of those bites with Golbat and Crobat. I don't know. What do you guys think? Can the Wobbuffet Crobat deck be legitimate? I feel like it's probably still a little weak, but it is fun to use. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.